Hello, and thanks for joining us on Movie Night Memories. You Must Remember This, a podcast that focuses on movies and our favorite memories of them. Each week we discuss the films that are celebrating an anniversary from when they came out in theaters. My name is Sword Alexander, and I'm joined by the inspiration of this podcast, my mom, Tracy.
Rock and roll! Oh, sorry. We're about to talk about Sid and Nancy.
We just watched the 2025 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, which I haven't seen in years. I don't really watch the award show that much at all. And Soundgarden was on, and Cyndi Lauper was on there too, which that was a little sad.
That company I enjoyed.
That company was really great too. It was a really good award show. But but we're not here to talk about rock and roll. We're here to talk about movies.
I was talking about Sid and Nancy.
So this week we decided to see Sid and Nancy, which came out in November 7th, 1986. My Left Foot, which came out November 10th, 1989.
My Left Foot came out when I was born.
Yeah, sure. Sure it did. Home for the Holidays that came out on November 3rd, 1995.
Get it? My Left Foot came out when I was born. Right? Came out when I was born.
Good night, everybody.
My Left Foot came out when I was born.
I don't think you said it enough. Why don't you say it one more time to make sure people understand?
You didn't understand. I was trying to hit you over the head.
That's why I said goodnight. I'm going home.
Okay, got it.
We also saw The Incredibles, which came out November 5th, 2004. And Big Hero 6, that came out November 7th, 2014. This week was a very interesting week of emotions. It's a literal roller coaster where it was up and down, up and down, up and down. But very interesting choices of films. We actually decided to go see films that were released between November 2nd and November 15th. Both weeks were kind of short on films, so we decided to just combine them together, make it a little bit easier this time. But this was a good 2-week span of films that came out right before the holidays are about to really kick off, which is just as bad as when it comes to the frequency of movies that come out during the holidays. It's just as bad as summer. So we're in for a treat. First, we're going to talk about Sid and Nancy. This was released November 7th, 1986. It was directed by Alex Cox, and it was written by him and Abby Wool. In 1977, Sid Vicious, co-founder of the Sex Pistols, wreaks havoc on the stage and meets Nancy Spungen, whose budding self-destructive relationship is chronicled in the shocking biopic about drugs and alcohol.
So Nancy was from America.
Yes, New York.
And Sid was from England.
Mm-hmm.
So I never understood. I guess she was over in England when she met him, correct?
Yes,
in the story.
That's how they describe it in the story, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think he went to America until he met her, and then they went to America. But I don't know this relation. I don't know the history of the Sex Pistols.
Yeah, I'd like to find out more how they actually hooked up. I think that we know how they hooked up, according to the. But
this was a first-time watch for you.
Yes. My sister Roxy said, "You don't need to see this." She says it's too authentic. That's how she described it to me. It was too real. Too real, too authentic is my memory of how she said, "You don't need to watch that. You don't need to see this." She wouldn't let me see certain things. And because early on she would take me to everything to see, and I would get too emotional and too upset. And then as I got older, she realized I can't be exposing Tracy to stuff like this. It's too much.
Because it's traumatizing.
Yeah, it's traumatizing. So
it's been 39 years since you first heard about this movie.
Yes.
How do you feel after all these years watching it now?
It looked like I was there. I felt like I was experiencing what they were experiencing. Because I remember as a young girl when the Sex Pistols and punk rock scene was out. And I felt like I was there again, experiencing the news clips and seeing what was, but even more so, I didn't recognize Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman is not Oldman. He's not an old man. I didn't know he was like that. I would never have guessed him playing. I didn't know he played Sid Vicious. I thought that was a different actor.
I didn't know him. It's really something. This is my first time seeing the movie too, and I really was just as taken into the film as you were, where it did not feel like a film at all.
It felt like a documentary.
A documentary where you were right there watching it all happen. Alex Cox does such a brilliant job recreating that environment.
Yes.
Because it feels so real.
The moshing.
All the craziness that happens on these stages and the debauchery, it's all there. It feels extremely authentic. Nothing feels too crazy or out of whack. It's just there. Because that's how all these kids, quote unquote, some of these people are probably my age, were reacting to the state of things during this time in the 70s. And it was really incredible how he brought this film to life. And it's really just incredible that Abby Wool and him wrote this film because it felt so real. It felt like you were actually there.
I'd like to get his input of why he wrote it so quickly after all this transpired. Because the Sex Pistols had such an impact.
They really was a genre defining. They didn't create punk, but I think they really were able to capture the image of what people think of when they think of punk.
Yes.
They're genre defining in the best possible way. They needed to be where they were at that exact moment in time to create the genre that we know of today, or at least redefine the genre as we know today. Because as you know, punk rock's been around for decades and decades.
Now makes me want to read more on the Chelsea Hotel, because I've always heard there's stories about people who stayed at the Chelsea Hotel. The Chelsea Hotel is haunted in New York. That's where she died, Nancy. That's where the incident occurred. I didn't know it was to that extent of what. It's awful. Mm-hmm. It's really awful.
They did such a. I mean, I was telling you, I was so impressed with the props masters and the props department for creating such realistic-looking scenarios of drugs. You can see people putting needles into their arms, and it looks like they're actually putting needles into their arms and doing these drugs. I was shocked. It looks so real.
Yeah, but then the critics said that they didn't see that. I saw it. I saw them putting needles in their arms, and they were sharing needles. Mm-hmm. And AIDS became a very awful situation. Mm-hmm. And it was not just from sex, it was from sharing needles.
Yeah, Gary Oldman plays Sid Vicious. Chloe Webb plays Nancy Spungen, who both do such a great job.
Courtney Love's in this film.
And Courtney Love, she had a very brief cameo role at the beginning of the movie.
No, she's in it throughout.
Is she in it throughout?
Yes, she is.
Was she that dominatrix woman?
No, she wasn't that.
Who was she
She's
then?
the blonde woman, the younger blonde lady.
Okay, that woman, we saw her maybe twice in the movie.
No, she's in it.
I never saw her outside of this one scene.
No, she's in it several scenes. And I was thinking, that looks like Courtney Love, but no, she's too young to be in this movie. And she's in it. Mm-hmm. And I kept thinking, she looks like Courtney Love, but that can't be Courtney Love, because it's 1986. So Courtney Love's older than what I thought. Mm-hmm. Or she was awful young to be in this movie. I didn't know she was. I think
she was your age. I thought Courtney Love was your, maybe a little bit younger. I don't know. I thought she was around. Because Kurt was in the 90s. I thought it was 21. She must have been 20. So she would have been 17, 16.
She looked awful young. I was thinking, gosh, she looks like Courtney Young. She looked like a chubby Courtney Young. Courtney Love. Young. Courtney Love. Anyway, it's a fascinating film. It really delves into it, and you felt like you're there. It looks like it's filmed like a documentary almost. And
I really also want to appreciate Andrew Schofield, who plays Johnny Rotten in the film. I thought he did a fantastic job. He reminded me a bit of Simon Pegg, who was a later British comedian actor, and he's also a writer and director as well. But he does such a good job, really playing the Johnny Rotten role, and I like to see his characterization. Although it's subtle, it's very brief, it's subtle, but you can see his character evolve as the years go by of watching, as in the couple of years go by, watching him and watching Sid and Nancy go on. I really liked his character and how he portrayed it and everything. It was very realistic. It looked like a real friendship that was fracturing, not because of Nancy, but because of what Sid was putting himself through. And Johnny was doing the same thing, but he didn't want to. It came to a point where now you're disrupting our performances, you're disrupting the tour, you're really now you're going too far, you got to calm down a little bit. And Sid didn't want to do that. He wanted to do his own thing. So it's a really great movie. I really was so impressed with it. I actually haven't thought about what stars I'd give
I now want to see Gary Oldman's earlier work.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what he played earlier besides his old man stuff.
Well, he's a traditional Shakespearean actor. He's from I think he actually was in the Royal Shakespeare Company, but he was trained to be a Shakespearean actor. So he's been doing a wide range of stuff, but he's classically trained.
I know that, but I want to see his early. I want to see his earlier stuff.
What would you give the movie out of 5 stars?
4, at least.
I give it 4.5. I really think it did such a good job bringing everything together. I have very little nitpicks about it because it reminds me of like the pacing issues that I have with it, which are minor but they're important. Remind me of The Doors, where it just keeps going on and on and on and on, and it doesn't end. It doesn't reach to a certain point. But at least when it ends, it finally ends the way it's supposed to. I think it succeeded where The Doors, for me, was falling apart in that regard. So that's why I give it a 4.5.
The only reason it doesn't say the time frames.
Yeah, it doesn't. That's a common thing that so many biopics do, though. But yeah, it does have that same problem too.
And there's just some things that I'm picky about that I wish they had done.
Later on, in retrospect, Alex Cox talks about how he felt about the ending, and he says that if he were to remake the film today, this was back in 2016, he said, if I were to remake the film today, I'd redo the ending, and I'd have it be more depressing. I'd be having it more sad, instead of, he called it a happy ending at the end of the movie.
He did.
It was...
He didn't want to, he didn't show, and I also, this was the biggest one why I don't give it a 5. He did not give Nancy...
Yeah, he just at the end of the movie, he just briefly says that Sid Vicious died of an overdose in 1979. He didn't say anything about Nancy.
No, he just said he died of a suicide.
Because he overdosed.
No,
but they call it a suicide. There's theories that if it was a suicide pact or if somebody killed him. There's theories.
No. Well, I'm saying he didn't say that. He doesn't give any kind of kudos to Nancy.
No.
And she was killed. She was murdered.
Yes.
She was absolutely murdered. It doesn't make any sense about how she... I don't want to go into it. Mm-hmm. But it's horrible. It's a horrific situation. It's horrific. And he doesn't give any accolades to her at the end. Mm-hmm. And that was wrong.
Yeah, that was wrong.
That's why I give it a 4.
Yeah. Good. Well, moving on. We're going to move on to something a little bit less tragic. My Left Foot. So, My Left Foot was released November 10th, 1989. It is celebrating a 36th anniversary. It was about a man born with cerebral palsy and only able to control his left foot. Christy Brown, he grows up in Dublin, Ireland, surprising his family and friends as he grows more independent and reacts to everyday life. I have never seen this movie before now. I've heard of it. Everybody's heard of My Left Foot. I mean, any cinephile's heard of My Left Foot. I have never heard of Christy Brown, who he is. I didn't hear of him at all until I saw this movie. This is my first time watching it. Is this your first time watching it?
No. I watched it when it not came out, but I think I went to see it when there was all this, oh my gosh, you gotta go see, Daniel Day-Lewis.
Big word of mouth.
Yeah.
Oscar
you gotta
drama.
go see it. It's amazing performance.
And this is directed by Jim Sheridan. It was co-written by Sheridan and Shane Connaughton. I probably screwed up the name, but it's Connaughton, I believe. Very Irish-sounding name, at least. Yeah. So your experience watching it to now, because we were rewatching it, do you have any kind of differences that you've noticed about the film that really stood out to you?
I remember I didn't really like it the first time I watched it. I thought it was a big hoopla over a lot that I thought was... I couldn't understand. And I was disappointed. And I thought, well, maybe I'm crazy. I remember thinking that. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm crazy for thinking this is supposed to be such a great... I thought, oh, he does a great job acting paralyzed and not being able to move. And I thought the little kid was really, really good. I remember that. when I first saw it.
Because there's the kid that plays the younger version of Christy Brown.
Yes.
Because it's from childbirth up till I think his 30s or 40s when he gets married.
And I do remember thinking that the mother doesn't change. And I thought that was terribly done. I remember that when I first saw it too, and I remember it now. Yeah. And I was thinking, there's problems with the movie in that respect.
In the span of 40 years, his mother does not age at all. She doesn't age at all.
Or at least 30. At least 30 years.
At the very least 30 years, she doesn't age a bit. She has a little bit of gray near the end of the movie.
And she builds a room.
Yeah.
She starts building a room.
Her voice doesn't change.
She starts building a room. She carries people. She's strong. It doesn't make sense. No. So it doesn't make sense to me. And I remember watching this film before, and I was laughing, and people were getting upset with me
in the theater.
Yes.
Because you're just hearing. He's moving his foot around.
No, I wasn't laughing at that. No, but I was laughing at certain things that, doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that was like the woman never ages, or, the everybody. Oh wait, what do you think was really silly about the movie when you first saw it, though?
I'm not going to go into it.
Okay.
Because you will understand later. But anyway.
Are you telling me you'll get it when you're older?
No. I'm not going to say it during the podcast.
Okay.
So, I did like the woman they cast as the doctor that he fell in love with,
mm-hmm.
and he got angry, and that kept giving him alcohol. I didn't like that. I remember that too. I thought that this was a terrible story, giving a cerebral palsy patient who's probably on drugs as it is alcohol. Again.
Well, I thought it was odd. Look, you can talk about what if scenarios with it, but in my perspective of watching it from his point of view, because it's about his point, you're watching it from his point of view, I would imagine that he would, because his father's pretty abusive. He's a very abusive man, and they have like 6 kids. He's very verbally and physically abusive. I really felt that he would stay away from alcohol, because you see in the film, he is traumatized by the way his father is not only reacting to him, but reacting to the world around him, and he's very abusive. He's
very dominating.
And the way that the kid's reacting to the abuse, it makes him look like, how could he ever want to touch alcohol after that?
Yeah, but see, they grew up with that, though. They grew up with alcohol, and to be a man, you have to drink alcohol.
And I get that.
And
Dublin. Well, that's why I said there can be people that can disagree with it and discuss it, and I get it. I really do. I just feel that, though, from what the film portrayed, it was showing you, I don't want to ever drink. And then it shows him getting plastered on a regular basis. That really bothered me.
It didn't show that. They didn't show him getting plastered. That's not true. That's what
I saw.
They didn't show him getting plastered on a regular... It showed it a couple of times.
But they didn't. They only showed him as an adult so many times, though.
Yeah, but
the times they showed him as an adult, as somebody with his own decisions that he can make, he was getting just completely out of it. They showed him around
alcohol. But in Dublin, Ireland, there's pubs on every corner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What I thought was really funny is that, didn't he smoke cigarettes?
No, I don't think so. Oh yeah, he did ask for a lot.
Isn't that funny? The man who only can control his foot wants to have is able to have the dexterity to smoke. Isn't that? I just think that's crazy. It's something that you need a basic dexterity to do, and
but he could paint and he could write. So, but this is what you brought out, which was very smart. You brought out that he had 6 kids, and they were suffering financially. They were eating grub, and they couldn't. None of them had a job.
Not a single one of them had a job.
That we could tell.
Yeah, only the father had the job. He was a brick maker, or like
bricklayer.
He was a bricklayer. Which that's like, it's just one of the most menial jobs to work with.
I don't think they even. I think the movie just lacked showing who had jobs.
It made sense in the beginning because he was a kid. Everybody else, they were all kids. When he was, then they show a pivotal point in his life when he's 17 years old. Every other kid is like 17, 16, 15, 18.
The mother can have any kids.
Yes.
Like into her 40s and 50s, which is beyond me to understand. How could she be having children?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many kids were in that house. There was like 2 rooms. It was crazy.
Yeah, they all had to sleep together.
No, there was like 6 kids in a bed.
Yes.
Or 3, at least 3 to 4.
And I've heard of those. I've heard of that. That's true. That's happened with poor families over the generations. Absolutely. But I just think it's bizarre that at that point they were all talking about how poor they were and how they couldn't afford to have basic food. And like they're all 15 to 18. You could get jobs at that age. Even something as menial as you could be able to get.
Especially in Dublin, that's a big city.
Yes, you could be able to afford a meal you
could go clean houses. You could go work at the pub. You could go. You could do something.
They would have rationed their funds together to be able to eat, and everything, and just live and survive. And they were acting like none of them could have jobs. Christy's different. Of course, he couldn't get a job. Everybody else, though, they were fully capable of having jobs. Not a single one talked about it.
No, Christy could sit outside and beg for money.
Yes,
he could.
But they all know Christy. They all know him. They're like, "Oh, Christy, who cares about you?" But it was so funny because like the kid, one of the kids, he was like 16. He was complaining about like it was like, "Oh, we got this again."
Porridge
it's like,
again. Porridge.
If you don't like
it,
get a job.
It was bizarre.
That really surprised. That made me laugh. It was like, come on, guys, you cannot complain about not having food and not having a job.
But then the kicker, the real kicker, was at the end when he was not wanting to.
The kicker with the left foot.
All right, the icing on the cake. Okay, the icing on the cake is that he didn't appreciate them honoring him. You about lost it at that point.
I was very upset about that.
He was mad about them honoring him as a writer.
The whole idea is that the movie's going back in time because in the present day he's at a
function,
a social function where they're honoring him for his recent book and his legacy and his paintings.
And they pick him up in a Rolls Royce.
Yes, they pick him up in the nicest British car you could ever ask for. And he's acting like, this is a terrible, like, I don't want to be here, this sucks.
And he has to get drunk.
Everybody just wants to look at me and laugh at me. I'm thinking, what are you talking about?
They're honoring him.
Yes. And it just really irked me that he treats it like that when he's such a pivotal figure. I mean,
they're honoring him.
It's disgusting to me. And I really think it would probably put him in a very bad rap. He's probably didn't really act like that. It's just that's how the film wanted him to act that way. Wanted to act like he was like that. And it was like endearing. They were acting like it was some kind of...
And all he cared about was that nurse that was sitting with him while he was waiting to be called to be getting his ovation and standing ovation and applause. All he wanted to do was get away with her. The entire film is summed up as a man is angry at the world because he cannot have sex and get married. Because that's after the 10-year-old, when he's 10, from beyond that, it's all about him being upset that women that he's interested in don't like him back. And that's a really boring movie, if you ask me. I was extremely disappointed in this movie overall. Daniel Day-Lewis, I'm not going to discredit him. I think he did a great job portraying Christy. And I really liked that soccer scene. I really thought that was really important for both the chemistry of the people around him and the friendships and how much he was involved in the community, even as somebody with major cerebral palsy. Overall, though, I was extremely disappointed in the story of the film. I thought the story sucked. I thought the film as a whole sucked. And this is an example of just because a film is lauded as a great film by the Oscars does not mean it's a great film in general. And I don't think that man, his whole existence would depend on the love of a woman. No,
I think that he would have. I think he has a right to be upset at the world for people not seeing, or especially women, not seeing him the same way that he sees his brothers and everything, and wanting to find love. I get that, and that's something that I feel like the people who wrote it were not mature enough to write that story properly. This was a very immature film that acts like it's grown up.
They didn't really understand more meaningfulness of what he was trying to say.
What would you give it out of 5 stars?
2.5.
I would give it a 2. It has some good ideas, but it really falls apart. And I was extremely disappointed in it overall.
But I've never read the book, so I can't say if it was like the book.
Right.
But I do know this. there were other films that did not win because of that.
That was a huge year. 1989 was a huge year for film.
And I was disappointed that other films did not win.
Mm-hmm. The kid did a great job, though. The kid who plays the younger Christy Brown, he was fantastic.
Yes!
He was fantastic.
Yes!
Because you could give Daniel Day-Lewis a lot of credit, and he, like I said, he deserves it. But watching a kid do it, somebody who's at least half his age doing it...
I don't think Daniel Day-Lewis deserved Best Actor as an Oscar. I do not believe that year. Yeah. I do not believe that year.
They gave it to him because he was method acting and making people feed him and walk him around the set for this method acting.
That's no! Explain that. Explain what you just said.
Behind the scenes, he did this. It's a famous thing that behind the scenes of My Left Foot, he was method acting to where he made people on the set, like the crew and everything, roll him around and feed him
when he was not doing scenes, when he was not being filmed.
Yeah, when he was not doing scenes, it was all behind the scenes. He would he would still act like Christy, and they would have to roll him around, and they'd have to feed him and do this stupid crap.
There were scenes where he had drool on his face. I would tell Sword during while I was watching it. I said, his mother would wipe his face. A mother would not want their son to have drool on their face.
I'm just saying, don't give Jared Leto crap for sending used condoms and disgusting items and dead rats to cast members during Suicide Squad, and then act like Daniel Day-Lewis is a god among men. He's just as guilty of this stupid behavior as anybody else.
I've never heard about used condoms.
Oh, it's true. He did. He sent used condoms, dead rats.
I heard about dead rats, but I didn't hear about used condoms.
They were opened condoms. They can't confirm if they were used, but they were definitely opened.
Okay, they were not used.
The point is, though...
Don't say that.
There is such a thing as method acting, but there's also stupid acting. And to me, that's an example of stupid acting, where you are purposefully being an asshole.
Okay, I know that Jared would never send something that was dangerous. He would never send something that was dangerous.
Okay. My point is...
My sweet Jared would never do that, okay?
Yeah, I get it. My point is you don't do that. You don't do this stupid crap that makes people upset with you. Like, don't act like Daniel Day-Lewis is high above. I've always thought that, and this is my hot take, that I've always thought that Daniel Day-Lewis is an overrated actor. He's a good actor, but my God, especially after seeing Sid and Nancy, you can't... I'm never going to say that Daniel Day-Lewis is one of the greatest actors of all time. I've seen him in good stuff. I've always thought he was good. I've never thought he was great.
Okay.
Moving on.
You give it a
I give it 2. We're going to talk about Home for the Holidays. It was released November 3rd, 1995. It's celebrating a 30th anniversary. It was directed by Jodie Foster, and it was written by W.D. Richter. A restoration artist from New York goes to her childhood home for Thanksgiving, caught up in the family's dysfunction as they struggle to get through the holidays. This was, the main actors are Holly Hunter, who plays the restoration artist, Robert Downey Jr., who plays her brother, Anne Bancroft, Charles Durning. There's a bunch of pretty well-known...
Charles Durning.
Durning, thank you. There's a bunch of pretty well-known actors in this film. Claire Danes is in it. This is around the time where she's doing My So-Called Life.
Yep. Dylan McDermott, who's really handsome. Steve Guttenberg's in it. Mm-hmm. There's some famous actors. This movie did not... I was not impressed.
I was interested in it because I saw Robert Downey Jr. in it. I was
like,
wow, interesting. I want to see, this is before he had his drug situation and everything.
No, this was during his...
But it was like before he got arrested.
Yes, okay.
So I was curious, I want to see his acting before he got arrested and had to make this change around with his life. And I was curious. I'm like, okay, let's see what it's about.
It came out in 1995.
Yep, it's the 30th anniversary. I got very curious about it. This is your first time watching it,
yes.
Correct? It's my first time, too. It wasn't that good.
No.
It really wasn't.
No, it's terrible.
We'll probably be pretty brief because we really just,
mm-hmm.
it was just a
not
fizzle.
worth watching.
It was a fizzle out,
it's just not worth watching.
Mediocre film.
It reminded me of some things during my Home for the Holidays things.
And that's why you don't want to go back to that. That's exactly why you were like, I don't want to talk about this.
No, it's not that. It wasn't like what happens during my Home for the Holidays. It just, Anne Bancroft played a woman that smoked a lot.
Mm-hmm.
My mother quit smoking in 1991, but for some reason, it really hit a nerve with me.
In a way, she kind of looks like Grandma. And it is like the way
she
kind
was
of stuck.
She was really slim.
Uh-huh.
And when my mother did smoke, oh my gosh, she held her cigarette like that. And it just, oh my gosh, I kept thinking about when my mother smoked. I couldn't stand it. It really got, I felt like smoke was in my lungs. Mm-hmm. And she smoked all the time in this film. And nobody cared. Mm-hmm. Nobody said, Mom, when are you going to quit smoking? Nobody gave a... No one cared.
This is a very bizarre family. Like, this is a very bizarre family. Robert Downey Jr. is very eccentric and very strange. He plays a very eccentric and strange brother who's gay, but the family doesn't want to admit that he's gay. The only person, like, everybody knows, but they don't want to talk about it.
I have a family like that. My cousin.
And I thought that
they were like that.
The thing that really took me away from the movie was the very first thing was when he gets home late at night with his friend, and he gets this picture. He gets this camera, and he goes into
a Polaroid.
He gets a Polaroid camera. He goes into his sister's room, who played by Holly Hunter. Goes into her room, throws off her blanket, and takes a picture of her while she's pretty much in her underwear, just in her underwear.
She's in a t-shirt,
right? But that's
like a brother.
But then the next morning, she's taking a shower, buck naked, and he does the same thing again. He takes a picture of her, opens up the curtain,
that is bizarre.
Takes the picture, and then runs off with the door open. And she's like, "Oh, come on! I hate this." Like, she doesn't scream, she doesn't freak out. This woman's in her 30s.
Yeah, but she's also got soap all over her face.
Yeah. She does.
And
she would kill him.
Like she's washing her hair. I'm telling you, a sister would hunt him down and...
She would castrate him.
No, she would castrate him. She would hunt him down, take that picture, and rip it up. Because it would be a Polaroid. It would already be out of the camera. She'd take the film, rip it up. It would be never...
Her reaction was, "Oh, you." I'm like, that's not normal. That's very creepy. That's very bizarre. It's extremely uncomfortable.
It doesn't make sense.
Yep. From there, the movie just took a nosedive.
Unless she did something to him in the last holiday similar.
Yeah.
That they're getting each other.
But they never show that.
But they don't talk about it.
It never happened in the first place.
It doesn't make sense because there's boundaries. And a girl would lock her doors, especially during the holidays, if she knows her brother's coming home with a friend. And I think the mother has said, what's his name's coming home with a friend. And you would lock the bathroom door. You just do. And you always lock the bathroom door. A girl would lock the bathroom door. Because you're in a new environment.
Okay.
You don't want anyone walking in on you.
Okay, I get it.
Okay.
So I just felt that this movie, from that point on, took a giant nosedive in quality, and it never got better.
It got worse and worse, and I couldn't wait to be over.
The character chemistry, like all the characters, their chemistry just did not work well, especially with the love interest, too, which I'm not going to get into that much because it's not worth it.
And Claire Danes telling her mother she's going to lose her virginity.
Yeah, get that? So right when she's about to leave for New York, she just loses her job because they cut the budget, which I also think that's also stupid because... So she loses her job. She gets laid off because of budget cuts from the federal department. People they don't do that before Thanksgiving. They usually wait till after the holidays to do that whole budget cut thing. They don't just all of a sudden say, "We're cutting off 90% of our funding. Have fun in Thanksgiving. Have fun with your family." Like, even federal governments don't usually do that. That's not normal. So she gets home, and then she gets driven to the airport by her daughter, who's driving. Her daughter says, "By the way, I'm going to have this boy over, and we're going to have sex. And I'm going to lose my virginity while you were with your parents' house." That is essentially exactly what she said.
Why wouldn't the daughter go with her?
Yeah.
To see Grandma and Grandpa? That doesn't make sense either.
They never explain why.
That doesn't make sense?
Never explain it.
And it was snowing. She wouldn't let her daughter go drive the car in the snow in New York. That would be too dangerous. Mm-hmm. Nothing of this movie made any sense. At that point, I was like, this is a La La Land movie that I do not want to have any part of. But I thought, I'm going to be open-minded and see where it goes. Mm-hmm. It got worse and worse and worse.
And then it finally ended.
And I was going...
This movie sucked. It's definitely not as bad as My Left Foot, but it really sucks.
Okay, can you think
I'm
of another word?
I'm just kidding.
Okay, you said this in the last film.
Actually, My Left Foot's better. But this movie was just really disappointing, and just like My Left
Don't
Foot
watch
was.
this film. Do not waste your time.
Complete waste of time. But I want to talk about it because we watched the whole thing.
I know.
Speaking of Holly Hunter movies, we also saw The Incredibles this week. It's celebrating... It's true. She's in it. It came out 21 years ago, November 5th, 2004, starring Brad Bird, directed by Brad Bird, and it was written by him as well. He also previously did The Iron Giant and Ratatouille as well. In an animated world with superheroes and supervillains, a series of lawsuits forced the government to outlaw superheroes, causing them to lead normal lives. Wanting to relive his glory days as Mr. Incredible, Bob Parr does secret vigilante work while taking care of his nuclear family, each with exceptional and unique powers. So the first time I saw this movie, I don't exactly remember.
You probably went to see it in the theaters.
I might have seen it in theaters. I don't remember.
Yes, I'm sure you did.
But I remember really enjoying it. This was a point where I was seeing every Pixar movie.
I'm sure you went to see it in the theaters.
But the first time that this first time that we started watching more movies together, it was around 2012, and I don't know, I forgot what led to the decision of it, but we decided to go through a bit of a Pixar marathon of films. And you know what it was? I think you wanted to be more introduced. You wanted to be more introduced to animated films, because I was into a lot of animated movies, and I knew the good ones from the not so good ones, and you wanted to see what the hubbub was about with some of these animated movies. And I said, well, there are some that I think you'll really like. And I showed you several Pixar films, but the one that you liked the most was The Incredibles.
I love The Incredibles.
So this is like your second time watching it now?
Yeah.
And I remember I was so happy that you liked it, because it was one of my favorites. And it was something that I really enjoyed too, but I didn't know how you were going to take it. I thought you might like it because of the setting, but I didn't know what to expect. Because you're more picky with animated films than I am. But you loved it.
Yeah, I did.
So I like this movie a lot, and I also like the memory that we have of it too, because watching your first time was great, because I got to appreciate a film more watching you appreciate a film that I also enjoyed too. This is one of Pixar's best movies, in my opinion. It's hard to discern what's the best one, but when I think of the top three, Incredible's on the list, absolutely. It's extremely well written. I love the story. It's very deep. It's very simple, but it really has different layers to it. I love the James Bond kind of aspect of it. I really, really, really appreciate the villain of him. Jason Lee plays the villain, who calls himself Syndrome. I really like the storyline. It's very funny, but it's also very true. It tells a great story, and it has a great messaging about not meeting your heroes. Don't let somebody else define who makes you great, because that's kind of what his story is about. His arc is somebody told me, who I thought was my hero, that I'm not great, and I need to prove to myself that I am. That's his story arc. And it's a great arc. It's a great messaging to get behind, but he's the villain too. Very multi-layer when it comes to the writing. Really shows Brad Bird's excellence when it comes to writing good stories with even better characters too.
And I think the animation is incredible.
Yes, incredible is honestly no better word to describe it. It's absolutely incredible. Even 21 years have gone by, and it still really holds up, especially the 1960s futuristic kind of approach to it. The first scene with showing them in that city and everything, it's still so cool and warm and crisp. I really also appreciate Samuel L. Jackson and Craig T. Nelson, who play Frozone and Mr. Incredible, respectively, and their friendship with each other. And I love their chemistry. They really they click. They click so well together. Mm-hmm. Everybody really clicks well together. Nobody does a bad job in this. You, in this rewatch, you were particularly taken by the character a guy who plays Dash, the little kid.
I love it. I love
Speedster. When there's one scene where he's watching his mom put together her superhero outfit to go try and rescue her husband. He's like, "Oh, who's that? That's a cool outfit. Can we get cool outfits?" And he's just really taken by it too.
Oh, I just love it. I love it. I love Dash.
So is there anything that really stuck out to you that were different from your first watch of this film that you noticed?
I think when they're in the airplane and the airplane's about to explode and stuff, that was really, really good. I love that part.
Good.
Yeah, I like that part. How they're trying to save each other and be there for each other and everything. I love that part.
Now, I was a kid. I really don't remember too much about the excitement and about when the film came out. It was a huge hit. I don't remember too much about it. I remember little bits and pieces about the reception, but when it came out in 2004, do you remember it being talked about a bunch?
Oh, they were talking about before it was going to come out. Okay, it was big, huge. It marketed big time, so it was a big boom. Everything was going to be incredible, incredible this, incredible that. Everything was big time Incredibles.
So they're really banking on this.
Yes. Everything was incredible. It was.
I remember seeing a lot of orange because that was their signature color for the outfits and everything for a while. So I remember seeing a lot of merchandise come out afterwards too. I just don't remember. I remember seeing so many trailers and commercials on Disney Channel after the film, like before the film came out, and then after it came out when they were eventually going to put it on Disney Channel to watch on TV. But I do remember a lot of like behind the scenes, quote unquote, and talking about how good the movie's going to be. I remember watching commercials on Disney Channel when that film was happening, showing little clips of it too.
Yeah, it shined, and people went and saw it over and over. They loved, and they talked about how it was a movie for all ages. Mm-hmm. That everybody would love it.
And it really is. I really, as an adult, you can appreciate it just as much as you can as a kid. Because as a kid, you don't really get the whole thing with Bob Parr, where he becomes an insurance agent and a claims adjuster, essentially. But as an adult, you see what he does. You see the cubicles, and you see him so depressed, and everybody's so depressed and cold. It's like you see it, and I really like it. I think it's so clever the way they do it. I remember loving the scene where he accidentally breaks the car a little bit, and then he almost throws the car out of anger, and that kid is just looking at him in just pure awe and dismay. And I remember that really stuck out to me. I also really liked the scene. I also, even as a kid, I understood when he was trying to help this old woman with her claim being denied wrongfully. And he was like, I'd like to help you, but I can't. I'd like to tell you that you should go to this person and file form this. But even as a kid, I thought, that's really nice of him to do that really nice thing that he was not supposed to do. But as an adult, I understand the real ramifications of what he was doing in the first place. He was still trying to be a superhero in the best way he could. And it's very relatable. It is a film for all ages to enjoy and understand, too.
Yeah.
So, I thoroughly like this movie a lot. Is there anything you really want to talk about that sticks out to you that you just really enjoy?
I just think that it helps you take your worries away. It helps you take your worries away for a couple hours. Mm-hmm. That's what's nice about it.
What would you give it out of 5 stars?
I'd give it a 4. I'd give it a 4.
I give it a 4.5. Yeah, I give it a 4.5. I thought it was truly excellent, and the only thing I would probably change is the ending a little bit. Just because it kind of ends on a bit of a cliffhanger, but not really. I mean, it's kind of a here we go again sort of thing. And there are some things that I felt like they could have ended a little bit better. But overall, it did end very well in the first place. I really didn't care for the sequel that much. I remember we saw the sequel in theaters, and we were both pretty like, it was okay. Yeah. I don't know what it was. It's just that I think they were just trying to recreate the magic that made that first film so good. I didn't like the villain, the whole thing. I liked the thing with Bob being a father to Jack, the kid, and needing to try to be a babysitter. I thought that was really great. I thought that was excellent and wonderful. But the whole general A-plot was very disappointing overall. So, but we can appreciate the magic as it is here and now. The last film that we saw this week, last couple of weeks, was Big Hero 6. It was released November 7th, 2014. It was directed by Don Hall and Chris Williams. It was written by several people, but the three major screenwriting credits were Jordan Roberts, Robert Baird, and Daniel Gerson. In an alternate world where the cultures of Japan and America combine in a futuristic San Francisco, Hiro Hamada is aided by his older brother's intelligent robot Baymax to uncover a mysterious villain's plan with technology Hiro invented. Hidden underneath the superhero team-up adventure is a powerful story about loss, friendship, and acceptance. So I saw this movie, not in theaters. I saw it less than a year after it came out, and I was really surprised by how good it was. I was shocked. It was on the very bottom list. I saw it specifically because it was near the end of the year. I was writing reviews on my Facebook page when they could let you do like notes to post, and I was doing my reviews, and I wanted to have a top 5 and bottom 5, and it was a movie on my list. So I saw it, and I thought...
And you had to share it with me.
Yep, and I thought it was so good, I had to share it with you. I wanted you to see it, because especially it was during a time where we were going through a lot of loss, because the movie's about loss. It's about how you move on from surprising loss in your life. And I thought you'd really relate to it and appreciate it, because we've both been through a lot of loss with our lives. So I introduced it to you, and what did you think of it when you first saw it?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I was shocked by it. I was really shocked by it. I was really shocked by the deeper meaning of this movie.
And that's what got me too, because this was the setting is so different from what you usually like. This is not usually your thing when it comes to Japan culture. It's really animated. It's very Japanese and anime focused. It's like none of this is usually anything that you kind of watch. But I thought, you know what? The story and the message behind it's so real and so raw that you could look past it and accept it more and be able to see from a different perspective. I like Japanese culture. But this is a really heavily anime culture, and you don't usually pertain to anime that much. So I really wasn't sure, but like I said, I thought the messaging behind it was so powerful that you were just going to get sucked in, just like I was.
I was really, really, really impressed with the writing of what transpired. And then when we went to Disney World that last time, there was Hiro.
Yep. And Baymax. Yep. They had a little meetup spot and everything for it too, which is really cool to see because it's so lifelike. The person who did it so lifelike, it looks so real, and it's just like right there. It's pretty incredible. It really is.
It makes me tear up right now.
It's a great story. It's really sad because it's about loss. Because he loses his brother in this terrible accident, and the only thing he's got left is this robot that he invented. Hiro's brother invented at this really
School
advanced
of Technology.
Yep, School of Technology, who was designed to help people and help give them medical care. And the robot recognized, Baymax, he recognized that he needed medical care, which in the form of psychological medical care. And it was really beautiful. It's a really beautiful story.
The voice of the Baymax is incredible.
Oh, absolutely. I forgot the name of the actor, but he's been around in a lot of stuff for a while. There's a couple of, there's a lot of lesser known actors that play the roles in this film, but they're still really well done. I mean, I think the biggest name besides Alan Tudyk, who plays one of the more side characters, is Damon Wayans Jr. plays one of the characters, one of the other side characters in the movie too. And I was really taken by it. I really didn't expect to like this movie as much as I did, because I really wasn't into the idea of also watching an anime style, like Disney attempting to do anime. What really stood out for me, besides the story, was the facial expressions of these characters. The first scene in the movie where they show the robot battles and everything, and you show their facial expressions change, it's so vivid and so expressive. It reminds me of traditional Disney animation, where you can really feel the emotion in it, and you're sucked in. I really liked it, and the music is fantastic. I listen to some of the songs on my own personal soundtracks and playlists when I'm studying or when I'm doing other things that just require just music, because it's got a really excellent soundtrack. The animation's absolutely gorgeous. It's extremely vivid and vibrant. You could tell so much love and attention to detail went into the world of San Francisco.
Oh, I love the look of San Francisco.
It's incredible. It's in a way it's ahead of its time. In a way it's really ahead of its time, and I'm surprised that people don't talk about it enough. It is, to me, is an underrated...
You got really upset that year when they were not, I don't think they won. Or maybe they did win. I forget now.
I forget too. But they weren't even... It was barely a mention. And I was really disappointed because this is the kind of thing that the Academy really likes. It's anime films that have deeper meanings of itself. It's not about Japan. It's about loss. And it's about finding and accepting loss in the most unexpected ways. It's cleverly written. It's really put together. It's a passion project in its own way. And I love talking about this movie because it deserves to be talked about more and appreciated more too. Absolutely. Gosh, it's already been 11 years since it came out. Does not feel like it doesn't.
No.
But it looks like it could have come out a few years ago. It still looks great to this day as well.
Oh, it's a beautiful movie. Mm-hmm. Beautifully done. Beautiful message.
And usually, you're the one... usually I'm the one that finds the movies, but you're the one that said, like, one night we were just sitting down about to watch just something. I was just coming back from work, and you said, "You want to watch Big Hero 6?" Because it was just on Disney+. And I said, sure. Right, sure yeah. And it happened to come up on a week that we needed to talk about anyway, so it worked out. So with all that said, what would you give it out of 5 stars?
I give it 5.
Wow. You really... I didn't expect that. I thought you would have liked...
I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't see anything wrong with it.
Man, now I'm on the spot.
I really don't. I don't.
Yeah, I give it a 5 too. I really can't think of anything wrong with it either. It ends perfectly. It really's got such great nuance with it. It's so sophisticated and well done. You're gripped the entire time.
I think it was ahead of its time.
Yeah. I think it deserves to be talked about more, and I get it though because it's very advanced for what it's trying to do and say in the first place, and I hope it is recognized more as time goes on with it too.
And the play upon his brother's name, hero.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Danny's my hero. He's my big brother. I love you, Danny. Well,
this was a very good couple weeks when it comes to films, although there were some that we were not too happy with.
Yeah, there were some we tried to watch and we couldn't finish.
Mm-hmm. But that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
But overall, though, I like ending on a happier note, even when we're making fun of films and upset with how some films go in the first place, too. So this is a nice film to end things up on. So thank you all so much for listening. We look forward to what the holidays are going to bring. We hope you're having a great time, and we'll appreciate the cold front that's about to hit us tomorrow morning.
Yes, and we hope that everyone is safe and sound and during this troubling time, especially with the government shutdown, that they can be fed and have God on their side and get help if they need it.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening. You guys have a great day.